Hey friends and fam, and welcome back to another Onmyoji video guide. In today's guide, we're going to be talking about the different kind of PvP teams out there and which one you should pick or use. Up here in front, you can take a look. I already have these PvP teams set with the name above each one and the speed order in which you want them to be going in. So let's go through each team here, figure out what souls you want to use, and figure out why each team is strong or weak. Starting off with the free-to-play team. Now, this team is best for you new players who don't want to spend as much on the game. Even though it's called free-to-play, it does not mean that this team is any less strong than some of the teams out there. It's just your basic team that kind of like fulfills all the functions you need for PvP. You start off with your accelerator, followed by Shuzo, into orbs, followed by DPS, into healer. So let's go ahead and take a look at each one of these Shiki real fast. I have to hop out of the preset and let's go ahead and look over here. For your Yama, you're going to want Fortune Cat on his souls, and make sure to remember to have a speed if you can. G6 will help a lot, but G5, G4, and G3 works as well. Remember, the key to trying to get your Shuzo link up first is being the first one to move. For your Shuzo, you're going to want either Jizu. Well, let's go ahead and say Jizu. Guessing that you might not always be going first, having Jizu on your Shuzo might be able to save you a ton. Some of the other options you can have for Jizu are Mirror Cat, depending on some of your other team soul sets and the teams you're playing against. Your idea is to try and maximize on your survivability as much as possible, and then whittle the enemy down out with your heals and DPS. Your Zashi is going to be using either a 4-set Azura Basin or a 4-set Fortune Cat, depending on what you have at your disposal. Ubume or any other DPS that you will be using most likely will want to use Seductress to maximize the DPS output. And your Kuso is going to be either using a 4-set Tree Spirit Max or... just remember that Kuso's heals are based off her attack, so you're going to truly want to try and maximize her attack as much as possible. Unlike some of the other healers out there that you want to max health on, remember that you want to try and get her attack up as high as possible. So for example, you're going to want 2, 4, and I'm pretty sure you're going to want crit as well, but because your heals do crit. So 2 and 4 are going to be a % attack, and then Tree Spirit for the passive increased healing. Alright, let's go ahead and move. Oh, before I move on, let me just tell you a little bit about what this team is good at and what this team is bad at. The team is a very defensive build. It does help with survivability. Shuzo and Kuso alone can help the team last for longer, and it does help for those new players who are lacking some of the SR units to put together some of the other teams out there. So if this sounds like a team that you might want to start off with, or if you're lacking some of the Shiki for some of the other teams, please don't hesitate to start off with this team as your first PvP team. Let's go ahead and move on to the... Before moving on, one more thing I forgot to add. There is a chance that you run into people who are faster than you. Those people who are faster than you might be able to get a turn in before your Shuzo. If they're using a single target damage, it can sort of give you a little bit of trouble, but for the most part, anybody who the speed game is a little complicated. You kind of get into it as you progress into the game as well. Some of the risks that come with this team is that the longer the fight goes, you tend to lack damage as you're using a single one DPS as well. Shuzo's link is also not very effective against AoE as well, so keep an eye out for Otengo players and other Ubume players out there. Alright, moving on to the next PvP build we're going to be looking at right here, which is Iron Fire. Iron Fire goes in the following order: Accelerator, Tesu, I'm going to murder her name, how do I say her name real quick? Houga? Alright, Zashiki, and your DPS. Once again, your DPS can be swapped out for whomever. When it comes to building your Kama, Unlike, although you do want to try and have Fortune Cat on him, if we go ahead and take a look at mine, I do not have Fortune Cat on my Kama. Reason being is his speed is 250. I would not be able to get the same sort of speed if I was using Fortune Cat. But if you can use Fortune Cat and your speed is high enough, then by all means go for it. Pulling up the teams real quick. Tesu, in a sense, is going to debuff the enemy team and increase your damage. Oops. Dreamland Encounter. I'm very tempted to go on this because I don't know what that is, but we'll do that later. Sorry, friend. Tesu works a lot like Onmyoji, probably murdered her name, in the sense that they both have a debuff that costs 2 orbs and lasts 2 turns. They both work very well with this next Shiki coming up, which is, once again, I can't say her name, but we'll try anyways. Houka. That being said, your speed order goes the following, and your final DPS can be exchanged as you see fit. Some of the strengths of this build is, oh sorry, before I go on to strength, let's go on and talk about the set bonus, the soul bonuses for each of your characters. So when it comes to building your Tesu, you're going to want a 4-set Jizo statue, and you're going to want speed on set 2. Where is he? There we go. Oops. Gotta close this. Let's open this back guy up. Alright, so you're gonna put Jizo on this guy, and your slot 2 also has to be speed. One of the good things about using Tesu over Anna is the fact that he has a higher base speed. Maybe not right now because he's not evolved, but I'm pretty sure he gets a speed increase when you evolve him. He works very well with Otengu or any other AoE DPS as well, as his debuff increases your AoE damage. One of the negative sides of using Tesu over the other debuffer that we were going to be talking about a little later, who I'm not seeing, where is she? There we go. Then one of the other disadvantages of using him over Onmyoji is the fact that he does not slow down the enemy's speed. That being said, this team is still very strong and can do very well in PvP. Some of the other disadvantages of using Tesu over other characters is that Tesu has a very low survivability himself, so if the enemy gets to go first, he'll probably die. Unlike Onmyoji, she can survive a little better actually, if I'm not mistaken. Let's take a look. Defense. Defense, yeah, I mean it's 1 letter grade difference, but it will make a difference in the long run. That being said, let's move on to our third PvP team, which is your Fire and Rain. This is very similar to the team we were just talking about. The only difference is we're swapping out Tesu for Onmyoji. Now this build I'm seeing a lot of currently in PvP, and this is the one that I'm currently building as well. There are tons of videos that go over it, so I'm going to go over it very briefly. Your accelerator goes first, followed by Onmyoji, then, oops, gotta close this real fast. Then Houka goes ahead and crowd controls them. Keep in mind that for your souls, you're going to want effect hit on soul 4, and then speed on soul 2. Be sure that your speed order is in the following order, or you're not going to have the team work out the way you want it to. I currently swapped from double pull to Fire Rain to try and get to a higher rank on the ladder. This team is very strong, and I would recommend building it if you could. Except for your final DPS, instead of using Ubume, if you've reached the point where you want to build this team, I would recommend either using... I would just recommend using Araraka. If you can build this guy, then go, by all means go for it. He's very strong in PvP. Why do I keep closing it? Okay. Let's see, where was I? Oh, soul recommendations. let's go on from there. For your solo recommendations, I think I spoke about the first 3. Oh, I did not tell you guys what to build on. Oops, close this. On Onmyoji. For Onmyoji, you're going to want to build either Fortune Cat, Mirror Maiden, or Jizo Statue. Basically, you want to try and maximize your survivability and for the off chance that you don't get to go first. For Zashi, you can also use Fortune Cat, or the other one, Azure Basin, to ensure that you have enough orbs for your team. That being said, let's move on to the last and final team. And this last and final team is the team that I have been using up until this actual point. The idea is that you use double accelerator into orbs into 2 DPS, making sure that your AoE DPS goes first, followed by your second single target or cleanup Shiki. The pros of this build or this team is that it's very simple, it works very fast, and generally the duels don't last very long. It's also very strong. It transitions very well from PvE into PvP, meaning that all of these Shigis really help me a lot in PvE. Unlike some of these other builds, not including the first, but more so the second and the third, I will never use these guys in PvE scenarios or for boss hunts or for S10. So the only reason I'm swapping out of double pull is because I've reached the point where I'm just losing a lot of battles. The people I'm playing against have way tankier Shiki than some of the lower people I was able to beat with this build. But for the past 2 months, this build has treated me and carried me very well. Another pro to this build is that you can very easily use it for your Realm Raid. So unlike duels and Realm Raid, you don't have the HP buff. Without the HP buff, Devil Pull does extremely well both on offense and on defense. Keep in mind that depending on your level, your speed is going to be very important for this build, as if you don't go first, you're going to die because you have no defenses. It's just full offense all the time. Okay, that being said, I think I went over all the things I wanted to for this video. Let me know down in the comments below which team you think looks best and why. Don't forget to subscribe and like. I'll see you guys in game.